Oh, that's not suspicious at all. He gets named a witness in the case against OpenAI, which stands to literally change every single thing about society. He's going to blow them up. And 4 days after he gets named as a witness against OpenAI, he's dead. And he supposedly... Yeah, right. So today is a conspiracy day about artificial intelligence. And here is what we're going to talk about. We're talking about this very suspicious death of one of the guys who was testifying against OpenAI, and the Cybertruck bomber used artificial intelligence to plan the entire thing that he did on New Year's Day. And at the very end of the video, we're actually going to see a video of him going from the hardware store where he filled the car up with racing fuel and he's driving to Trump Tower, and they show the racing fuel dripping out. Like you get a full recounting of everything that happened that day. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to see that as well. All right, conspiracy episode. All right, we got 2 conspiracies we're going to talk about right now. Number 1 is the Cybertruck bomber. The FBI has confirmed that the emails that he sent talking about the gravitic drones targeting the East Coast was legit. He really did send that email. Now, why is this important? It's because a bunch of creators came out and tried to paint Sean Ryan as some kind of sucker who got tricked by the dude who went on and was like, oh, he emailed me. He's like, oh, please, man, you got catfished, Sean Ryan. You never should have ran the story. Okay, well, it turns out I knew that he didn't get catfished because there was a blaring clue in that story that made it obvious. Okay, that everybody just missed. It was like, all right, this is an interesting theory that you have that they got catfished, but that's not true because of this. And we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about what the FBI said about the actual message. We're also going to talk about this, which is a lot more interesting than any of that stuff. Okay, so one of the earliest members of OpenAI, a whistleblower who raised concerns about their use of copyrighted data, days after a New York Times interview and weeks before testifying against OpenAI, he was found dead. His parents found a ransacked apartment, an open laptop, and scattered blood. Now they are on a mission to have the FBI investigate their son's mysterious death, because guess what? You want to know what they said about how the guy died? Guess. Okay, so some kid who was a wonderkind, all right? Like this was one of those kids that got recognized as an absolute stone genius when he was like a child, all right? And then he went up through the ranks, and then he went to Cal Berkeley and all this. Everybody always knew this kid was going to be a genius. He joined OpenAI, and then he saw some things in how they were addressing artificial intelligence that concerned him enough that he was like, is that light on? I can't even tell if that light's on. Anyway, concerned him enough that he left the company and blew the whistle on them. And he was set to testify against OpenAI. And then supposedly, right in between, these statements that he's making, he's doing, he's talking to journalists, whatever, and he's about to testify. And then, I don't know, he just was like, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to kill myself. And I'm going to do it in a way that leaves a big bloody mess in my apartment, because that is how people do that, right? I don't want it to be clean. I don't want it to be simple. I want it to be messy, and I want it to be very, very suspicious, So as a matter of fact, let's start right there. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate it if you guys would do that. I also want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. Watch this real quick. Now, if I told you that you could make $50 for free if you take 90 seconds of your time to do something, it's something that you would do, especially if the 90 seconds is going to be something fun. Because that's exactly what Prize Picks and I are offering you right now. I want to be very clear. There is no gimmick here. There's no chance where this does not lead to $50 free for you. There's nothing you have to pick right. There's no game you have to win. If you play a $5 roster on Prize Picks, you will get $50 into your account whether you win or lose the roster that you entered. How much you can win in addition to the automatic $50 depends on the size of the roster that you pick, but I'll let you play around with that a little bit. Now, you also could try to win real big and play more than $5, but you don't have to. Take a look over here. Look at what I stand to win if I hit this roster. Hold me accountable to this. I'm putting it on my channel. I'm putting my face on it. Hold me accountable, and also hold me accountable to this. This game is super fun. You're going to want to play. As you can see on the left side of the screen, all you do is go through the athletes that you want to pick in a specific sport. In this case, we're doing UFC because my girl Rose Namajunas is fighting on Saturday. In addition to MMA, they have college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, any sport you could think of, you can play on Prize Picks. Now, in the roster you see over here, this is obviously a UFC roster. I'm playing a $5 game, which means if this was my first game, I would see a free $50 put into my account the second that the game starts. So come join me for Prize Picks. It's an amazing game. You'll be supporting my channel and you'll be getting free money. Also, look at my roster, take a screenshot, and then you can see how I did. And also, I want to know who you guys are picking. Send me your rosters if you want. Link is in the description. Use promo code JesseOnFire for the $50 bonus. And that is what it is. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into the story about the whistleblower right here.
Suchir was one of the earliest members of OpenAI. He left the company after being concerned of a few things on how they used a lot of the copyrighted information. So he left the company and he became a whistleblower. And then not long, I think days after a New York Times interview, and I think weeks before he had to testify in court against OpenAI, he was found dead. And for some reason, no one in the media is covering the story.
November 18th, he's been named as a witness. November 22nd, he's gone. It's just very short period of time. This is not the first time a whistleblower is found dead. Where are we heading? Just because they've invested billions of dollars, we cannot take lives of people.
4 days. 4 days after he got named as a witness, he's found dead by an apparent. Now, do you honestly believe that this guy knocked himself off? All right, so let's get into the details of this thing, though. OpenAI whistleblower's death sparks dark conspiracy theories or sparks common sense conspiracy theories, okay? The case of Suchir Belhagi has brought together a coalition of right-wing pundits, conspiracy-minded journalists, crypto enthusiasts, and the software engineer's own family. Oh, so like all the people who have common sense and can recognize an obvious conspiracy when they see one. Okay, it didn't take long for Suchir Belhagi's death to become a conspiracy. Yeah, like because people have 5 brain cells. Are you trying to say that it's not? San Francisco police only had only just announced the death of the 26-year-old software engineer who had recently made damaging claims about OpenAI, his former employer, when the speculation exploded. Okay, I don't know. I can't believe these people, how they write these, man. Something nefarious happened to something quote unquote nefarious happened to Belhagi. Observers positioned on X after he was found dead November 26th in his Buchanan Street apartment. He was the victim of a quote hit. The circumstances were, quote, very suspicious. He must have been assassinated, poster said, to prevent him from further harming one of the most valuable AI companies. Right. That's correct. San Francisco's authorities ruled the death this word, and police said they found no evidence of foul play. But in the absence of further information, the story has taken on a life of its own. These people, so you think it's probably not a conspiracy? You really believe that? A coalition of right-wing pundits, blah, blah, blah. You guys already heard that. A family in shock. Like all good conspiracy theories, I didn't realize that actually what we're doing here is I hadn't read this article. We're making fun of these morons, okay, who wrote this, who are probably on the payroll of Bill Gates, who, by the way, owns OpenAI through his ownership in Microsoft and through their ownership in OpenAI. Like all good conspiracy theories, this one begins with solid facts. A month before his death, Belhagi told the New York Times that OpenAI, his employer of 4 years, was illegally training Chat-GPT on copyrighted data. He later pledged to testify in the Times lawsuit against OpenAI. On December 14th, nearly 3 weeks after his death, Belhagi's mother took to X with a shocking message. We are the parents of a happy, smart, and brave young man found dead in his apartment. We are seeking to know complete truth. We need more answers. Right. Romario tagged ex-owner Elon Musk, Gavin Newsom, Vivek Ramaswamy in the post, which was followed by a flood of others calling for a comprehensive investigation and announcing that the family had hired a private investigator and secured a second autopsy. Good. In interviews with national media, Romario insisted her son couldn't have been suicidal. He was a high achiever, she said, a child prodigy, somebody with no reason to end his life. True. His time of death is a few hours after his last call with his family, she wrote in her initial tweet. We don't understand within a few hours what happened. Right. I love how people dismiss things like that. They're all, oh my God, that doesn't mean anything. It kind of does, actually. If he's talking to the people he loves and being totally normal, and then he just turns around, he's all, that's it. I didn't tell my mom I loved her. I didn't tell my dad anything. I just ended it all. Guys, generally speaking, they would probably be able to tell something's up if he's about to end his life. In an interview with The Standard, Romario and her husband, Bal Haji Ramarura, doubled down on these assertions, saying they believe their son was murdered at behest of OpenAI and other artificial intelligence companies. Right. Because guess what? Okay, let me actually rewind here. Okay, hang on. It's a $100 billion industry that'll be turned upside down by his testimony. It could be a group of people involved, a group of companies, a complete nexus. Okay, here's the deal, dude. Do you understand what is at stake in the event that this went the wrong way? I'm just curious if everybody understands what we're talking about here, okay? Because what he was going to testify to was that they were illegally using copyrighted material in order to train these AI systems. Okay, if this ruling goes the wrong way, and these AI systems cannot use publicly available information like things written by the New York Times, it literally destroys what they're doing. They need access to the internet to use it to train their thing. Like that it's like, if this goes the wrong way, then they can't do that. At least not, openly and, out in the open. It's a decision that would have such a tremendous impact. It's hard to even wrap your brain around. So yeah, that's a really big deal. A copyright thing having to do with, OpenAI and training your language model with this type of information. Okay, so Romario sees danger everywhere. She accused the city government of facilitating a cover-up. Probably did. She suspected that a secondary pathologist she hired was hand in glove involved with the San Francisco medical examiner who conducted the official autopsy. She charged her own attorney, with whom she is no longer working, for changing the narrative. At one point, she accused a Bay Area television station for passing notes to OpenAI, then accused a Standard reporter of being paid PR. They probably are. Romario claimed that the second autopsy proved her son was shot in the back of the head from an angle at which he could not have shot himself. From blood spatter on the bathroom floor, she surmised that Balhaji was trying to escape. There was an assault on him. He was brushing his teeth. His toothbrush had fallen down. He was attacked from behind. The family declined to provide the secondary autopsy report, and the private pathologist did not respond to a request for comment. The family's new attorney, Joe Cathals, cautioned that the autopsy may not provide incontrovertible proof. I would not characterize it as conclusively proving murder, he told The Standard, although he did add that the family was not satisfied with the premature conclusion of the medical examiner in this case. Okay, well, yeah, incontrovertible, a gun shot him, right? Like, you think these people are not going to bring professionals that can make that look like someone did it to themselves? David Serrano Sewell, director of the Office of City's chief medical examiner, said there are no reports for issuance at this time. All right, so bottom line. So the theories spread. Seemingly reeling from the death of her son, Romario has only added fuel to an already raging online conspiracy fire. Even though Balhaji's family issued a statement, ex-influencer accounts had seized on the narrative suggesting foul play. Right. Doesn't it seem a little bit convenient? Like, you remember, hey, how about the Boeing whistleblower that decided instead of blowing his brains out at home, like doing it at home where it's safe, he went to a parking garage in between his first and second deposition. Why would he show up at his first deposition if he's going to just kill, knock himself off? But that makes sense too, right? Okay, so hang on. Suspicion quickly spread to other accounts. Dark questions surround OpenAI whistleblower's death. Yeah, they do. Anti-woke activist Robbie Starbuck got in on the action, calling Balaji's death very suspicious. See, this is all just establishment media trying to slander people who are pointing out very obvious. I mean, like, oh, well, why would they lie? There you go. He's about to take down the AI industry. You understand, they need the language model to be able to use the materials that this lawsuit was going to damage their ability to use. Okay? That's the point. Okay. So, and here, Elon Musk replied I'm sorry, let me rewind. So, since founded his own, blah, 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 this is about Elon. He eagerly engaged in the conspiracy chatter, writing on a post about the death, commenting concerning under one of Nawfal's posts. When Romario tweeted about hiring the private investigator, Musk replied, "This doesn't seem like a suicide." Yeah, it doesn't. The posts have led to a groundswell of support. Families raised more than $200,000 through crypto donations and GoFundMe. One supporter created a crypto meme coin named after Balhaji, with the total value of which is currently around 1.5 million. I mean, you guys get the point, dude. Right? At times, the theories have veered into absurdity. The Suture Justice Movement account with where Romario frequently interacts at one point questioned whether Balhaji could have met with Mangione in San Francisco to discuss United Healthcare. Okay, that's just dumb. But you guys get the point, dude. You guys think it's unreasonable for people to think that this might be a conspiracy, that this guy might have gotten knocked off by corporate assassins? Come on, dude. Last thing I'm going to say on that, it's as simple as this, okay? They get the witness list. They see that he's on it. They go, we know this guy. And they're like, can he be reasoned with? No. Can he be bribed? No. Can we allow him to testify? No. What's the solution? He's got to go, man. If you think that that's a world that doesn't exist, you are naive and stupid. It absolutely does. Okay, now let's move over to the Cybertruck explosion story because this is wild also. Okay, the FBI has confirmed the authenticity of an email sent by Matthew Livelsberger, the individual responsible for the recent Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump International Hotel in Vegas. In the email, Livelsberger claimed that China has deployed advanced gravitic drones capable of launching attacks across the U.S. East Coast. We have confirmed that the document sent to the podcast, we know that he was the one who sent that document. They have not yet addressed into what is legitimate and what's not. I knew that he had sent that stuff. The fact that people were just running with this thing that Sean Ryan got catfished was ludicrous. Okay. Sean Ryan talked about, if you watch the entire podcast when Sean Ryan had Sam on, he talked about the fact that they had cross-referenced it with his own inbox and that guy had sent messages to him also. And all of that was before the guy blew up the Cybertruck. Of course it's not a catfish. You can't fake when the messages came in. These messages came here. This happens then. How could you think these guys were in? You think Sean Ryan and Sam were in on this thing before it happened? Come on, dude. Okay. Investigations also revealed that Livelsberger used artificial intelligence tools, including Chat-GPT, to plan the attack. He sought instructions on how to calculate the amount of explosives needed and how to buy a phone without revealing his personal information. Matthew, 37-year-old active duty U.S. Army Special Forces soldier, has been identified as the individual responsible for the Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump International Hotel. Before the explosion, Livelsberger died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I would love to show you guys that video, but I can't. The entire chain of events and the story itself are surreal. Nothing about it seems believable. Do you trust the FBI? Not really. Not really. But, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, everyone involved is saying the same thing, which is that he sent those messages, and there's no proof that he didn't. What is this? What is this, dude? Okay, look at this, you guys. Look at this. Hey, on the Daily Beast. I can't wait, dude. Cybertruck bomber Matthew Livelsberger was known as the Candyman. How he went from a hero to infamy when he shot himself outside of Trump Tower. Okay. 16 years before he fatally shot himself, I have not read this, by the way, and detonated a low-grade explosive in the back of a Tesla Cybertruck outside of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger of the Army 10th Special Forces Group arranged for a shipment of 200 stuffed animals, 100 notebooks, and 50 sets of crayons and pencils to be delivered to his from his native Ohio to Afghanistan. Okay, here we go. So, again, anyone who does any kind of civil unrest is a hero to these guys, right? Now, I know I said the thing hero on the thumbnail that I did on this guy, but I was talking more about him trying to reveal a war crime, whether that is true or not, than I was about anything else. And I just find now I hate the fact that I'm on the same side as the Daily Beast, man. Because these are the guys that are all, oh my God, listen, Mangione is a fucking hero. The items that arrived in the okay, so is this all they're saying is that he's he personally distributed the donated materials. I promise you it will be in the hands of a child that needs it and that would not receive it otherwise. Afghan children are adventurous, playful, just as our See, everything about this guy sounds like he's a good dude, man. You get shot in some places, so they must come to you. Cannot reach hundreds of thousands of Afghan children. Dude, this guy, Matt Livelsberger, sounds like a fucking good dude, man. And the kids called him the Candyman. See, this guy is a good dude. Now, let's listen to law enforcement talk about the Chat-GPT connection and what he used it for.
Chat-GPT, artificial intelligence, to help plan his attack.
But he basically starts using Chat-GPT, which is a generative AI, to be able to get information on how to conduct this particular plot. So ultimately, you'll see that he looks at trying to figure out the amount of explosives needed in order to conduct the explosion he was looking to cause. He also talks about, in the next set of questions, you'll see he's trying to figure out where to buy fireworks and how much of it to buy. He looks at the equivalence of those fireworks and how they compare to TNT and other types of explosive material. On this next set of questions, there's a focus on the velocity of the bullet fired from the firearm and determining whether that would ignite the explosives. This is an important component.
We knew that AI was going to change the game at some point or another in really all of our lives. And certainly, I think this is the first incidents that I'm aware of on U.S. soil where Chat-GPT is utilized to help an individual build a particular device.
Okay, to be clear,
to learn information.
Okay, so what he's talking about, for those of you guys who are not clear on this, he's like, oh, well, Tannerite helped set it off. Okay, so this is exactly what he did. Assuming that the actual, like the story is true, okay? Tannerite is this material that you can buy and you set it up on targets, and when you shoot it, it goes, blows up, right? So what they're saying essentially is that he had Tannerite in the car, which he set up in a way where he was going to shoot himself, and it was going to hit the Tannerite, which was going to go off, which was going to set off the secondary device, which was going to blow up the car. So he was, essentially setting up a car bomb that he was going to detonate with a bullet that was going to kill him first and then blow up the car, right? That's what they're saying. Now, I don't think there is any reason why anyone who knows anything would need to search that on Chat-GPT. That doesn't even make any sense. Everyone knows if you shoot Tannerite, it blows up. Oh, if I shoot Tannerite with a 50 caliber bullet, is it going to ignite? Of course it's going to ignite. That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm serious. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, there is no Green Beret on Earth that doesn't know that if you shoot Tannerite with a 50 cal Desert Eagle, that it's going to work. You do not need Chat-GPT for that. So this feels very weird, and this feels like now all of a sudden this feels like PSYOP, dude. I got to be honest. Well, here's what he asked Chat-GPT. So clearly, why would you need to look that up? Anyone who's ever used Tannerite knows a 50 caliber bullet is for sure going to set it off. What are we talking about?
All across the country as they're moving forward. And so absolutely, it's a concerning moment for us, but it's also goes back to my last point that it's instructive to us, right? It's instructive to us across this great country of ours to share with other law enforcement.
So I'll begin with the video analysis. We now have video footage that we're able to confirm that the suspect did prepare and stage for his planned attack. You'll see the suspect here in the video. He'll end up pulling out a can of racing fuel from the back of the vehicle, and then he'll start pouring that racing fuel onto the back where there's contents of explosive materials. So he'll seal the vehicle right here, and then he'll start driving off, and you'll start seeing traces of fuel that's dripping from the back of the vehicle. You'll see other parts here, and you guys can take a closer look after the fact, too, to try to see the dark spots versus the spots that were dry before. In addition to this video, we also have additional evidence that includes showing that the vehicle was leaking upon his arrival to Trump Towers. So in just a moment here, you'll start seeing right there, you'll see a trail of liquid falling from the back of the vehicle.
Wow.
There's some conversation about whether the vehicle was in self-driving mode. We've already addressed that in terms of the technical data that we collected, but also you can see that his hands are on the steering wheel as he's pulling up. And then finally, we're going to show a video here, and ATF will elaborate on this a little further in their briefing.
Okay, unfortunately, I actually can't show this part because it'll get demonetized and age restricted, because now we know that someone is dying when it blows up. But honestly, this speaks for itself. I actually don't have anything to add to this. This is a really interesting development. We're going to have more. I'm going to do another video on this tomorrow. Right now, I'm out of time. But yeah, we got to talk about OpenAI, and we got to talk about this this situation right here too.